Let's bring in Council Leader Michael Jones. Good morning.
Good morning.
You appear here, on the face of it, to have made a promise you can't possibly keep. Why do that?
I don't believe I made any promise. What I said was, and what I mean is that we're going to look at geothermal, advanced thermal treatment, and unlike the Labour Party, who like to go around saying things as if, with no content, we have an energy policy in Cheshire East. We're committed to trying to remove energy poverty, which is really what the issue is about. And quite frankly, let's be clear. If you can do any energy production safely, which will save millions of people money, we should do it. And the fact
you've never said there wouldn't be any fracking in Cheshire East?
What I've said is I'm against fracking in Cheshire East, because we're doing geothermal. Absolutely clear.
You've never said it would never happen then?
No. Read the press release. Let's be very clear what I've said, and I know what I've said as I said it. I'm saying we don't have to have fracking, and I'm against fracking because we're concentrating on geothermal. And my dear friend Peter Stiles, who just had on, who is an expert in this field as well, is advising us on this, would know that we've got the best area for geothermal in the country, in the non-igneous rock, which is around Cornwall. Surely we should be saying horses for courses. If you've got lots of shale gas, if you've got some methane gas, and you can go for it safely, that's a great policy to have. Listen, I support nuclear power. I don't want a nuclear power station in Cheshire East either. The reality is, it's what should be right, and we should focus not on the politics and cheap shots, but also specifically on reducing the energy crisis, which is affecting many, many people in this country, as you've had on earlier today. And I can say, Cheshire East, we're ahead of the game. We're trying to get geothermal done, advanced thermal treatment. And the area we think there could possibly be any shale, we think, with also with the negotiation, are around Poynton and north of the borough, which is all greenbelt. So
you said this morning, though, we've talked about clarity, so let's be clear on this. You've said we don't have to have fracking. You've already said
we're very hopeful on that we don't have to have fracking.
No, well, hang on. If we're being clear, you've said we don't have to have fracking. You're now saying you're hopeful that you don't have to have fracking.
Well, obviously, if you know anything about geothermal, you've got to find out what temperature comes out, what's going on with it, and when the process of doing it, just like we have with advanced thermal treatment. If that all works, we won't need fracking. We'll be able to produce our own energy quickly enough to go forward. So,
if a company comes into Cheshire East around Poynton, say, and says, we want to set up a site to get shale gas, you as council leader, how much say do you have in that?
No, you know the situation on planning, and this is a pure game. I don't have much say in it because I don't intervene in planning, which is very important. And unlike Sam's comments, facile comments about saying there'd be no speculative developments in sandbanks, cheap shots really should not be done at this time in the morning. But the fact is, I don't have anything to do with planning. But what I'm saying to you is this. Our goal is to concentrate on geothermal, AT&T. We're against, many wind turbines. We're against, a lot of things coming through. But if a power plant comes through, the Secretary of State will ultimately have to say over it. That's the way going forward. So what I'm saying is, as my point of view, the people of Cheshire East can realise, I'll be clear, we're not going to be seduced for £100,000 because we are seduced by geothermal, which also has substantial government funding, by the way.
What's your reason for objecting to fracking, then?
I object to it because we can use something else which is better, which is geothermal. Why wouldn't you use what's right for us? Why would we not go and do it where we can? Why would we not have the best available using the substantial heat source around Crewe and the west coast of the fault line of the Stoke fault line, which, by the way, Stoke is a phenomenal place. It's got a fault line running straight through it. So the west side of that at Cheshire East is great for geothermal. For the right side, which is the eastern side, there could be some made up of shell. We've got to investigate all this, but we're doing a lot of work on this already. I think we're ahead of the curve on this, and we're doing well. And I think people are just upset that we are actually able to say, well, we support the government's policy on energy poverty being reduced, but we're here ahead saying we're going to do this through geothermal. Simple.
Yeah,
Very
well,
simple.
give us an idea then of how much energy you think at the moment you might be able to generate through geothermal.
Geothermal, it depends on the temperature coming out. We have a borehole test done 10 years ago, which came in at 83 degrees at 1,000 metres. That's okay. It's not great. That would do for a heating system going through local areas, which would be good and fine. We want to push it to 100 degrees to really make value. We think we can equate for geothermal, if it works, the right level and can be done in substantive qualities, about 8 to 10% of our energy, which doesn't sound a lot, but it's a big impact on price. Advanced thermal treatment could be a lot more. So we're working on that too, and that's energy from waste. That could be a very big business and could account for as much as 50% more. So you're talking of going in that range if the technology works. And of course I'll be quoted saying it does work, but we are trying to do things. Isn't it amazing? People attack us because we're trying to be innovative, we're trying to do things differently, and yet all we're saying is, I don't believe we need to frack because we're doing geothermal, and it's the right thing to go forward. Actually, in America, despite all the hype of what's going on the internet, energy prices have collapsed, people are better off, and that's something in this modern age we seriously have to think about.
Thanks very much for joining us this morning, Councillor Michael Jones, who's the Conservative leader of Cheshire East.